Takeoff. Today we'll be doing our tournament recap, and if my partner Christian's over Saturday's loss, then I'm going to let him go first.
You know, Johnny, the tournament was truly exhilarating. It just showed how much parity we have today in college basketball. It featured a lot of upsets and a lot of teams overachieving. Story tournament for me was this UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. It was the first 16 seed ever to win a tournament, and the tournament has been played since 1939. It also played a competitive game versus Kansas State in the next game. I know Kansas State fans out there that you guys are still hurt about the absence of Dean Wade's tournament, but for UMBC to come back and play well against Kansas State showed that they're a real team. You know, they were riding an emotional high after winning the game. You know, everyone celebrating. They're all over Instagram. For them to come back, settle in, and play a competitive game just showed that they were a true tournament team.
I mean, my story at the tournament had to be the loyal Chicago Ramblers. They were only the third 11th seed ever to make the Final Four, and they did so behind pretty much a massive and international story. Sister Jean became an international story because of it. They won their first 3 games by a combined margin of victory of 4 points. They had local
number Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly. Including over number 3 Tennessee. They also were able to run through that same Kansas State team that topped the UMBC. So Loyola have really had a remarkable tournament. They were led by local products here in Kansas City, Clayton Custer and Ben Richardson. And really, they really brought the energy back to a school that isn't really focused on athletics, but during this month, during March, this team really united that university and a lot of Chicago, really. And this excitement for that Loyola Chicago program will be higher than it's ever been because of this run that they were able to make this year.
Yeah, when you go on a big tournament run, normally your enrollment goes up. So I'm sure that they'll see an inflate in applications there. But it's a prestigious school, so don't think that you're going to get accepted. What I learned from this tournament was that Tom Izzo isn't as dominant or great as we once thought he was. He had a roster this year that included Miles Bridges, Cassius Winston, Nick Ward, and Jaren Jackson. He had other couple players, but these are the main 4 players. Out of the 4 players I named, I mean, all 4 of them guys could be potential pros. I mean, you look at a guy like Miles Bridges, he could have been a lottery pick last year, but he came back. You had Cassius Winston, who was who had to go through the struggle of a point guard in the Big Ten last year, but came back to kind of a forerunner of one of the best point guards in the Big Ten Conference. You got to have Nick Ward, a guy who can go down there and get a bucket down there, a bucket getter. You had Jaren Jackson, who could be a potential top 5 pick this year. And for all that talent, it was kind of amazing for them to lose in second round to a team in Syracuse. Syracuse is number 11 seed. They have a couple pro prospects, but Michigan State had an overwhelming number of talent. And also, they played in the conference in the Big Ten, which they pretty much dominated all year outside of the Big Ten tournament. But they played really well. And for them to have pretty much the same exact team and come back and have the same result as last year, I'm really questioning Tom Izzo. We put him up there with Mike Krzyzewski, put him up there with Bill Self. But, you know, Jay Wright has 2 national championships in the last 3 years. Why is he not talked about as much as Tom Izzo? And I feel like, you know, we need to pump the brakes on Tom Izzo. And not really impressed.
Well, I understand talent is a big part of the tournament. You know, you expect to go really far when you have a lot of talent. But I think more than anything, what this tournament showed us is that talent isn't what matters most, it's experience. Exactly. And what I learned is that, you know, this Villanova team is going to go down as one of the most dominant national champions in NCAA history. They won each of their last 10 games of their season by double digits. It's remarkable in and of itself, and they had the second highest average margin of victory in any other school to win the national championship by double digits each game, only behind 2009's UNC squad, and that squad was a beast too. They had Ty Lawson. They also had Tyler Hansbrough. He was one of the best players of college at the time. So this team with Jalen Brunson and Michael Bridges, this team is definitely going to go down as one of the most dominant teams ever to do it, and they showed why exactly in the Final Four. And they just ran through 2 really good teams.
Yeah, and also they're going to be returning pretty much all their players. I mean, Jalen Brunson's a junior. Mikal Bridges is a junior. I feel like he may declare for the jab, but they have pretty much the same exact team come back next year. You know, adding a 5-star point guard and Jelly Fam, some guys know out there, Javon Cornerly. So their team's going to be loaded again next year, and they had the most wins in the past 4 years. With now, I think like 137 wins. So they've been very, very dominant. But my take on Kansas for the grade, I think it was incredible. Rod, you know, being a Kansas fan this year. I was expecting them to even win the Big 12 regular season championship, but they won that. They won the Big 12 tournament championship as well. But the continuous emergence of Malik Newman helped carry Kansas to the Final Four. Some of the big games, he had big games pretty much all in the tournament outside of the 16-seed Penn. He had 28 points versus Seton Hall. He had 17 points and 7 rebounds, versus Clemson. He had 32 points and 7 rebounds versus Duke. 21-8 versus Villanova. He's really the only player that seemed not really bothered about Villanova's pressure and seemed, prime for the light. I would like to see Devontae Graham step up some more, but it seems like he's a typical Kansas choke artist. Malik Newman is a dog, man. He's really a dog. And maybe that's a Southern in him. He a dog. He was there. He's ready to fight. But, we had some scrubs performances behind him. McConnell didn't show up. Graham didn't show up. As a book, looked like a fat slob. It's just some disappointing performances. But, with next year's team led by Malik Newman, I think we can make some noise again.
Kansas, the only place you can be a National Player of the Year finalist and be called a choke artist by
He's
Christian
a choke
McDonald.
artist.
How you go National Player of the Year finalist, bro?
He's had one good
Come on,
game
man.
in the tournament, and that was against the 16th seed Penn. People think Penn
It's the
is
same
Penn State.
man that, oh my God, it's the same man that wouldn't give any respect to that 2012 team that went to the Final Four. Didn't name one player from that squad to his top 10. Didn't even name Josh Jackson.
Devontae Graham had a star matchup against Jalen Brunson. It was
Listen,
Jalen Brunson, dude.
man.
He ate him alive. Barbecue chicken.
There's not a squad in the country. Not a squad in the country that would have beaten this Villanova
Barbecue
squad this year.
chicken. Jalen Brunson.
So you should be proud of
Jalen
what
Brunson
y'all
had the
accomplished.
same game he had against Michigan that he had against Kansas. And Michigan point guard was in National Player of the Year conversation. So what's Devontae Graham's excuse? Devontae Graham got 8 alive versus Trey Duvall. He got 8 alive versus Jalen Brunson. The typical Kansas choke artist. Just like Wayne Selden had 0 points versus.
This table hot. It's a hot take over here, man.
Come on, man.
This thing is
It's a
steaming. I
typical
don't know
choke
what this
artist,
guy's
man.
talking about. One of the best players in the country.
It's not one of the best players in the country, man.
Devontae Graham's not one of the
No,
best
I don't
players
think
in the
so. I think Malik Newman is better than him because Malik Newman showed up in prime time. He's a prime time player, and Devontae Graham is a regular season player. He reminds me of? He reminds me of DeRozan. He reminds me of DeMar DeRozan.
So one of the all-star guard in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plays for the Baby Raptors.
So what's your grade? What's your grade for the KU tournament, bro?
Ain't you supposed to do your recap?
I
Missouri?
didn't hear your
I'm
grade.
sorry.
What's your
I'm sorry,
grade? What's
fans.
your grade?
Missouri.
What's your grade?
I don't need to grade it. I don't need to grade. It was an F because we didn't get
F.
that thing.
All right.
I said in the last episode, I care about getting that thing.
That's
I don't
KU.
care about Final Four appearances.
That's
I don't care
KU.
about Elite 8. I don't care about Sweet 16s. I don't care about round through. I want national championships, and we failed again to bring it to Lawrence. Now that team overachieved. I get out the violin. I gave the violin speech like 2 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? But no, I give it an F.
All right, Mizzou's grade, incomplete.
Incomplete?
Why?
It's
you know
an
why?
F.
Because this season did not go as planned for this reason. Mizzou was depleted, and there was no other squad in the country that was more depleted than the Missouri Tigers.
Wow.
Here are 6 contributors that we thought we would have at the beginning of the season that ended up not being able to provide minutes.
Maybe
in the
they got some
tournament.
playing time.
Terrence Phillips got kicked off the
Conzo.
team. C.J. Robertson, Blake Harris transferred. Cullen Van Leer tore his ACL. Jordan Barnett got suspended. Michael Porter Jr. was on 100%. If you told me that a squad like that still made the tournament, and they may not have gave the best effort against Florida State, but they were shorthanded. They were able to make it a game until the very end, where Florida State pulled away. But they went to the Elite Eight. It's not like they played against a bad squad. So
That's true.
And we had a walk-on play 12 minutes. Brett Rao played 12 minutes. What other team in the tournament had a walk-on play that much time?
Who decision was that? Who decision was that?
That decision was
Half y'all roster play like
Jordan
walk-ons.
Barnett
You're sorry,
drinking and
bums.
driving.
Your team is full of bums.
Terrence Phillips doing something he
Michael
wasn't supposed to
Porter
be
like a
doing, and those
walk-on.
other 2 guys walking off the team and transferring somewhere else. So Mizzou's grade was incomplete. I'm glad this team made the tournament. It says a lot about the job.
They will make it next year.
Oh.
They will make it next year.
Oh, it says a lot about the job Conzo Martin's done. He's going to continue to improve this program, and we're going to go places
I don't see it.
Christian wishes KU would. So
Wishes
okay.
KU would.
Yeah.
How many Final Four appearances y'all had in the last couple of years?
Hey, I'll talk about the
Last
future.
10
I
years.
talk about the future.
The
And that's
future
where the
what?
Missouri
What
Tiger
recruits
program is headed. We're going up there. We're going to the top.
What recruits
I
got
promise
coming in?
you.
What recruits you got coming in?
We got Torrance Watson. Gatorade played the University of Missouri. So if you're going to talk about Quentin Grimes, Gatorade played the University of Texas. We got one, too.
Texas,
Courtney
Missouri.
Rambo
Texas,
coming.
Missouri. Come on. Everything bigger in Texas. Come on, bro.
Good players can't come out of Missouri.
Here
Jason
it
Tatum
is.
came out of Missouri. Bradley Beal came out of Missouri.
Where-
Tyler Hansbrough came out of Missouri.
where-
Good players
and where
came out
does
of
guys play at?
Missouri.
Tyler
Michael Porter Jr. came out of Missouri. So we're going to talk about good players that come out of
Michael
Missouri.
Porter played this last year in Washington. Jason Tatum went to Duke.
Hometown. Google
Tyler
hometown.
Hansbrough went to
On
North
this
Carolina.
laptop,
Come
Google
on, bro.
hometown.
Come on,
Hometown,
bro.
Michael
I
Porter
can
Jr.
Google where they
Google
played
hometown.
at. They didn't play at Missouri. And the
Michael
only
Porter
reason,
played in Missouri.
and the only reason they got Michael Porter. Let's backtrack. Let's do the woo.
The only reason is
The only
because
reason I got Michael
he
Porter
loved the
is because
program.
Conzo Martin.
He loved it.
cheated. He hired the stepfather.
We
the
cheated.
father
We don't
of
pay our
Michael Porter.
players.
He cheated.
We didn't pay.
He
We don't
cheated.
pay our players.
He cheated.
We don't cheat.
Well,
Okay.
anyways, next week we will review the Mizzou and Kansas recruiter class. I don't know who Mizzou breaking in. Honestly, y'all don't care. They're probably some bubs. Kansas, he
And if
went out
Kansas
there,
brings in
they
more,
got-
if Kansas brings in more Josh Shelby's, Cliff Alexander's, Shaq Diallo's, Carlton Bragg's, then we're gonna be fine. All right, I know we're gonna be fine. We're
ESPN
laugh at them.
ESPN has his number one way too early. ESPN next year. So
Josh Shelby was the number one recruit.
But they got us rated as the number one team coming in for next year. What do you guys say about that? CBS has.
Who was the preseason number one last year?
You tell me.
Did they win it all?
You tell me. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know who it was. I should have did more research, I guess.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, they didn't win the title because I know it wasn't Villanova.
Okay.
So, what's it matter?
Okay.
Worry about preseason titles. That's how you know you're a Batman KU fan. If you're going to the preseason rankings. Who cares? I'm worried about the end of the season. That's why this guy trying to move on already next year. Hey, it's okay. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Takeoff. If you liked what you saw, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And stay tuned for next week as we have more to